28 and I'm trying to shape history. Pulling from the sky for some strength to take with me. Line up the stars, fly away quickly and push the world forward like a tidal wave hit me. I ride the wave swiftly, I fear no man, check my titles mate quickly. Came from the sky with the light of day in me and grew my own wings so the pilot came with me.
Alrighty, and welcome to another episode of Ask Jack. This is episode 12. We are now filming daily. You can ask your questions using the hashtag AskJackD on absolutely any channel, probably other than LinkedIn, just because I don't go there because it bores me. But all of the other channels, ask your question using the hashtag. I'm at Jack Delosa on most of the things. Otherwise on Facebook, I'm just /Delosa. It's all pretty self-explanatory. And if you haven't yet subscribed to our YouTube channel where we're publishing these episodes absolutely every day, let's get into episode 12. The first question comes from Terry Condon, who asks, Jack, at your urging, I recently read and continue to read Conversations with God. What would be the book that's more valuable? To which I said, what do you mean by more valuable? And he said, Loving Conversations with God, best book I've ever read. Just looking for the next levels, no issue at all. Just looking to step it up. Good question, Terry. I wish I had my books here with me today. However, let me answer it this way. Another good book in the same sort of space and sort of arena of Conversations with God is Oprah, What I Know for Sure. It's a collection of her back page letters that she puts in O Magazine, and it speaks to a lot of spiritual and personal truths that I think help articulate and help us sort of explore who we are, why we're here, finding purpose and finding joy and living with gratitude and all of that sort of spiritual, personal stuff that's really beautiful. And Oprah is such a good writer. She studied poetry her whole life, and her writing is just so poetic and so minimalistic and elegant and just beautiful. So read that book. If you're after some like hardcore philosophy stuff, I'd read some Plato. What's the Plato book I'm reading at the moment, Katie? The Republic by Plato. It's hardcore. It's like the scotch of literature. You know, you drink it or you'd read it rather very slowly and little bits at a time. Obviously, Plato studied a lot of Socrates. There's a lot of Socrates that comes through Plato. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations, again, same, very dense, very heavy. Marcus Aurelius was obviously a Roman emperor around in like 120 AD, so just after sort of Christ. Jesus was on the earth. Marcus Aurelius was ruling the Roman Empire. Very modest, humble, yet effective leader in what he was able to achieve and in his thinking. And then if you're looking for a business book, 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel is a genuinely counterintuitive, anti-status quo thinking kind of a book. First business book in a while that I reckon is genuinely counterintuitive as opposed to counterintuitive for the purpose of being counterintuitive, if you know what I mean. He's putting forward views that are genuinely unfashionable and are probably unpopular, but he's telling you his truth and backing it up with really good arguments. So 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel is a great business book for you to go from Conversations with God. Terry, really good question. Thank you for sending it in. Let me know which book you pick. Take a photo of you in that book, post it up to Instagram, tag me, whatever. Look forward to following you on that journey. Question number 2 comes from Casey. Do you meditate? Casey, I do not meditate. I see a lot of value in meditation. It just bores me a little bit. So I do a whole bunch of stuff that gives me meditative value. I actually think I answered the question around my sort of happiness strategies and how I get that meditative value in episode 9. So Gresh, roll episode 9 for a little bit now. Question number 2 comes from Carmen Morris. Jack, what's your favourite pick-me-up when you're feeling frustrated and discouraged in your business? Carmen, really good question. I think that everybody has what I call happiness strategies. They're basic, really basic, fundamental things that each of us do, and it's different for everybody. It's an individual, personal thing. Each of us do that helps us reconnect with ourselves and rejuvenate and re-energize. For me, it's really basic stuff like looking or sitting or walking by the ocean. It could be journaling. I'm a massive journaler. I wrote a blog post recently on how I go through journaling or what I discuss and what I think about and the question I ask myself and all that sort of stuff. That should be up soon, so check that out. It could be exercising, could be running, could be spending time with friends. If I've got a dog, it's spending time with the dog, really basic stuff that helps me connect back to me. Or it could be reading cool like spiritual and personal orientated books. So not necessarily business books when it comes to re-energizing and sort of reconnecting. It might be something like Oprah, What I Know For Sure, for instance, which is just a beautifully written, highly spiritual, highly personal book. And I find that I'm not generally looking for pick-me-ups. I'm not looking for something to spike my energy. I'm not looking for external motivation. I'm not looking for rah-rah. I'm looking for connectedness. I'm looking for congruence. I'm looking for a feeling that I am really on purpose and somewhat balanced, right? So it's kind of the opposite to rah-rah. I want to feel balanced and grounded, and it's from that space that I'm able to do my best work and make my most effective decisions. So it's a whole bunch of stuff. I call them happiness strategies. Work out what you are. You've probably got between 4 or 6 of them. Just think, and for a lot of us, it's stuff that we used to do that used to make us feel real good that we no longer do, right? So think about what is it that I do that when I do, I disappear, that I feel reconnected to myself, that I feel happy all of a sudden. Start to do that. I don't calendarize it. I'm not a structured kind of a guy. I ritualize it. I do all of these things, probably 1 or 2 of them every single day, because that is my breath. That is how I reconnect. Carmen, awesome question. As you can see, they're the happiness strategies. If you want to watch that whole episode, there'll be a link somewhere around this video. Check it out. Question number 3, Julian says, why did your early businesses fail? Was it they weren't on purpose? And what was the biggest learning in hindsight? Very, very good question, Julian. Upon reflection, my first business failed. I'll give you probably about 3 reasons. Number 1, I was overly optimistic. I think particularly when we're young, and not even by age, but by stage, when we're early in our entrepreneurial journey, we can have overly optimistic and naive expectations as to how fast we will succeed, right? We so often, particularly early stage entrepreneurs, have a romantic notion as to what it is to be an entrepreneur. We see Richard Branson on Necker Island running 400 companies out of his smartphone worth $10 billion. We go, yeah, I could probably do that. And then we realize that for the first decade or 2, that's actually not the reality, and that it's actually a very hard road to attain a position such as that. So I was very naive. I was overly optimistic. I had unrealistic expectations, and therefore probably didn't work as hard and didn't learn as much as I needed to in order to be successful. The second thing was, and I think this is a really important thing for startup businesses everywhere, is, and again, is a trap for young players, if you like, having a very diversified and unfocused approach. I think the number 1 barrier to growth for startup businesses in Australia is a lack of focus. We come into business and we see, our biggest strength as entrepreneurs is that we love opportunity. Our biggest weakness as entrepreneurs is that we love opportunity. And in doing so, we pursue far too much opportunity. We try and be everything to everybody, and in doing so, we end up being nothing to anybody. And that was certainly true for me early on. We want to chase all of these different roads and all of these different shiny things at once. My advice around that is focus on one thing, try and become the best in the world at it, build a profitable business around it, and then start your second business or your third business or whatever. But I've never known anybody to start 2 businesses at the same time successfully. With Branson, he had a string of failures for many, 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 many years. He then had Virgin Records, which he had 1 business for 10 years, sold that for $1 billion, and he didn't own 100% of it, but he was very cashed up after that. Sold Virgin Records, head office for Virgin at the time, this is like early to mid 90s, was then Richard's house in England with a PR person, 2 admin people, and a PR assistant. That was Virgin head office at the time. He was very cashed up, and then he started to diversify into other plays, right? So you need to earn the resources and the finances and the credibility before we start to diversify on a real large scale. So focus is definitely the lesson there. Really good question, Julian. Really good question, Casey. Really good question, Terry. Thank you guys for staying there. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's probably a link either in this video or around it somewhere. And I look forward to speaking with you guys again tomorrow. Tonight is